Hey, what's up, guys? Chris Nelson here. It's Thursday, October 26th, 2023, and just an absolutely very sad day as another shooting has happened, and this one in Maine. Please like and share uh, this stream around. And in Maine, we see this, and there's nothing else to describe this. It's just in a very great space with Kaladin Free, Tim Cool, and this is terrorism. I mean, there's no other word that describes this other than terrorism. Mass shooting, Maine, 18 dead, 13 injured, slaughter at bowling alley. What a dick. To go into a bowling alley where people are enjoying themselves. What an asshole. Look at this. I don't even want to look at him. Disgusting. 18 killed in shooting. It's a 40-year-old. It's a 40-year-old, just like me, my age. Decides he wants to go into a bowling alley and kill a bunch of people who are enjoying themselves and having a good time. And the AR-15 is, well, first of all, just saddened by this and so sad for the families. This is just absolutely disgusting. And the people have to come to this scene and see this. That's Patrick Dempsey's hometown, huh? And they're still looking for him. They haven't found him yet. 18 killed, 13 injured in mass shooting after gunman armed with AR-15 opens fire at bowling alley and then a bar. What an asshole. Walks into a bowling alley and just starts shooting innocent people while they're drinking beer and bowling. What could have triggered this guy to do this? This is just so Army reservist. Wonder what kind of drugs they gave him in the Army. The number one thing I ask in every one of these things, I know happens, it's the same people saying the same things. The Democrats and the left, they all immediately, we need to ban assault rifles, what they call them, AR-15s. That's going to solve this. We need to ban that. We need to clamp down on guns. That's their immediate reaction all the time. And then what happens with people on the Republican side is they are specifically reactionary to the Democrats. And immediately it's, you ain't taking my guns. No, you're not. And then the debate ensues about why guns are needed, and boy, they are needed. I mean, when those assholes from Hamas paraglided into the dance festival and started mowing people down, I'm sure some of them wish they had guns on their backs. I mean, you see people in Israel that carry AR-15s or whatever on their backs. A lot of times they're in the military, or but because everybody's required to serve, all the males anyway, in the military in Israel. And you see them carrying guns around because they get attacked like that all the time from terrorists. And they need to be able to defend themselves, okay? But it immediately goes into this whole debate. Now, I want to know, what drugs was this guy on, okay? Every single time these things happen, my first question is, what drugs was he on? And what are the side effects? Because a very large portion of America are now on antidepressants. SSRIs are what they're called, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Yeah, and you're wondering, what is that? Well, look, these drugs um, they really have some. They mess with your brain chemistry. Okay, what you're doing with a lot of these things, the drugs for depression, is people will be going through things in their life. Okay, and they will go to a doctor, and because in America we're told that if we feel depressed or life isn't going right or we don't feel right in some way, that we need to go to a doctor. Okay, we need to go, and what does the doctor do? He gives two things: a diagnosis and a medication. Okay, the medication's got to come with the diagnosis. After spending very little time with you, I know something about this. I worked in a psych unit at one point, and the people that would come in, they would not leave without two things: a medication diagnosis and a medication. See you later. Have a nice day. And people go, oh, well, can't people be put on a psych hold? Well, yeah, you can be put on a 48-hour psych hold. I think's the max here in Florida. You can be admitted for longer, but a lot of people that go into these places, they go in many, many times. They're what's known as frequent flyers. And they are sent on their way with medications that, if not taken exactly as prescribed, and even when taken as prescribed, have serious side effects. Let's just look at some of the side effects that antidepressants have, okay? SSRIs. All right. I want to send this over to somebody I was talking about earlier about this. And I hope she shares it and everything. Share this around. But I mean, look at this. They really push these things. Okay, antidepressants, SSRIs and SNRIs. I don't know what an SSRI is. A selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It literally prevents your brain from the natural process of reabsorbing serotonin, because your brain shoots out chemicals all day. Okay, usually after you do a good day's work, and this might not apply to some people, but this audience, when you do a hard day's work and you feel good, or you go and you exercise and you feel good, these are because your brain is releasing chemicals. Okay, when you have sex, you feel good. All right, your brain releases chemicals at different times, and naturally it's supposed to be you have a reward center, and then you have like adrenaline, and then you have dopamine that goes out, and you have drugs now that release dopamine. But what SSRIs do is they theoretically, because all this stuff is theoretically, right? We really don't know how it works, but they say that on these pills. They literally say on antidepressants, we don't really know how this works, but it's believed to do these things. Look at them. That's what it says. But these are the scientists and the experts, and they prescribe this stuff like crazy. Okay, so I'm depressed. Okay, I need antidepressants. Okay, well, of course, if I'm depressed, what is the solution? It's got to be antidepressants. Can't be like meditate or go outside, or something in my life is out of whack. Because depression to me is a warning light. It's like, if you're depressed, it's usually, well, what am I doing to make myself depressed? Am I consuming too much social media? Am I not getting enough exercise? But in our McDonald's society, where we want everything our way, we want it now, we're not feeling right, we want to go to the doctor, and what does he do? He gives us just antidepressants. And what is the side effects of antidepressants? Suicidal feelings. There it is. Suicidal feelings. Hypomania or mania. Oh, and this is like what they're telling you. They're saying this straight up. So I think that it makes sense to, at least when you get these shootings that happen, that seem to start right around the same time that that we started doping up kids with these drugs. Suddenly these shootings became commonplace. And we're at a point right now, people are going to want action, okay? And honestly, over time, the Democrats are the ones that are telling people what they're going to do to keep them safe. The Republicans just say, out of my cold, dead hands, but they don't present this. I think this is something that's right in Governor DeSantis' wheelhouse, And I'd like to see DeSantis talk about this. Okay, we need to know when these shootings happen, what they were taking and what the side effects are. And if it's suicidal thoughts or homicidal thoughts, some of them have homicidal thoughts as a side effect. Is that not worth at least some type of cursory investigation? But here we are again with the pharmaceutical companies. The same pharmaceutical companies that brought you the COVID shot and told you it was safe. Well, Dr. Latipo, you're in Florida, saying no, don't take it. Glad to see a lot of people aren't taking it. As much as Travis Kelce pushes it, let me tell you something. The Kansas City Chiefs are evil, okay? They're blood red. They're evil, okay? And spare us a Super Bowl with people dancing around in all red and doing these weird things and acting weird and not being entertaining, but just being weird and demonic looking. And then at the end, brought to you by Pfizer. And then there's Travis Kelce. He's like, hey, look, I got them. And his face turns into a demon. And he goes, no, the Kansas City Chiefs cannot go to the Super Bowl, okay? No matter if the refs are on their side or if the announcers are on their side, they cannot go. They are evil, all right? Okay, anyways, get that out of my system, all right? So let's have a country Super Bowl halftime show. I know Usher's doing it. Please, Usher, don't do anything weird. Can you not? Don't do the weird people dancing in red and not creative and just we've had that the last two Super Bowls and for God's sake, Usher, don't show us that you're pregnant or something. Men can get pregnant. Just do a good job and bring Little John, by the way. But anyway, so. You would think that this would at least warrant a cursory investigation. So I'm hoping DeSantis has already talked about this. I'm hoping that we hear some things from him that let's look into this. Okay, a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they fund these politicians. Okay, just like the NRA does, by the way. And why is the NRA so unpopular? Because typically they raise money after these things. Okay. So no fundraising emails from the NRA, all right? Because they get backlash because now Biden's going to call for gun control and all these things. And really, at some point, people are going to want action on this, okay? We got the Second Amendment. I get it. You can make all the arguments you want, but people want to be able to go to a bowling alley, a baseball game, and places and feel safe. And with this kind of crap, they don't. All right? Why did this asshole do this? I don't know. But he was in mental institutions. Okay, he had, all right, for Robert Card, 40-year-old Army reservist, by the way, and firearms instructor. This guy, Robert Card, who killed these people, 40-year-old Army reservist and firearms instructor. Guys, look, and this is sad. And I'm not making excuses or even trying to for this scumbag, okay? But the Army, when you're in the Army, they send you all kinds of drugs, okay? And they say, take these. Ask anybody that's been in the Army and has dealt with PTSD or these kind of things. First of all, Army people, they shoot you up with all sorts of injections. That's why I think DeSantis at first, why he took the J&J, which I think he said he regrets, but it's because he said when he's in the military, in the Navy, he's used to it. They shoot you up with all sorts of things. Here's this vaccine. Here's this. What's it going to do to you? I don't know. But with everybody else, most of the rest of people seem to be fine. But here you go. You need to take this shot and this shot and this shot. And then with the veterans, a lot of the ways they deal with the post-traumatic stress is they just send you drugs. So let's look at what this guy was an Army reservist. So what kind of what kind of drugs was he on that the military was giving him? That should be looked into, but it won't be. But DeSantis should call on this because we need to have some type of solutions put out by people on the right that are on the side of the Second Amendment. Okay, you need to be putting these things out, and just saying hands off our guns, it's not enough. Okay, and this is to protect the Second Amendment. Just banging your hand and pumping your chest and saying big things on social media just don't fly anymore. All right. People want to be safe. All right. Feel safe. All right. It's the most deadly in the U.S. this year, the worst since the El Paso shooting of 2019. Killed 18 people. They found his car. I bet Jonathan Riches is probably already up there covering this. Follow him, JLR Investigates on YouTube. I bet you he's already up there. I don't know how that guy gets to places. Like wherever there's something that happens, it's like he's already there. But his YouTube channel is getting huge. Armed and Dangerous. AR-15 with laser optic. I mean, standard. You buy those everywhere. That's really, people buy ARs not because they're powerful. The bullets are really little, but they are very accurate. Handguns, like I've tried, firing a handgun is very difficult. All right, and being accurate unless you practice a lot. AR-15s, you have the laser and you can hit. That's why a lot of people choose them to defend their homes, because they know that they're easier to shoot, and you know that if there's an invader, you grab it, you can target, bam, bam, invader neutralized. If you're using it the way it's intended to, which is for home defense, okay? But these guys are not using it as it's intended to, and they're going out and they're killing people who are enjoying their lives at a bowling alley. How sick is that? Now, what went on in his mind that made him carry out a sick thing like that? Because that's not talked about. Motive and what was in his mind. Did he abruptly stop taking medications? All right, let me get this asshole off the screen. That's man. Army reservist and he was a firearms instructor. The rampage began at 6:56 p.m. and police in Lewistown, Maine, Second City, were called to spare time bowling alley at 7:15, and they received calls from a second location miles away. Oh, so he went into a bowling alley, did this, then he went down the road and started taking people out. Okay, what? He's just looking for body counts. Why would he go? I mean, these are places where people are enjoying themselves. This is demonic. This is just pure evil. Pure evil. You know, don't count out demonic activity, but let's just say a lot of times for demonic activity to happen, it has to be welcomed in a way. And one of the ways demonic activity can be welcomed in, and maybe I might discredit myself by saying this, but I don't care because I know it for a fact, is through use of certain drugs. You know, you welcome in things into your life, but this is just absolutely evil. One bowler identified himself as Brandon. Death toll, 18 dead, 13 injured. Said her 10 shots ring out before he ran down the alley barefoot, climbed inside the bowling machinery to hide from the gunman. There was a loud pop, he said. I had my back turned to the door, and as soon as I turned, saw it was not a balloon. He was holding a weapon. I just booked it. Yeah. You know, it just makes you think. Anytime you're in a place with a lot of people, you think about this stuff. What an asshole. But he looks like a normal guy. Okay? What happened that made him do this? What put him over the edge? What was he taking leading up to this? Was he on medications, and then did he abruptly stop? Get him off my screen. This is just sad. If people see him, they should not okay. He's still on the loose. Oh my God. This is like a Andrew Cunanan thing, or what was that other guy that went up in the woods? But, you know, and you've got a guy who is mentally having a break here. I mean, this is a guy that's having a mental break. And you're telling me we're not at all interested when these things happen in looking into what kind of medications they're on. And I can't believe I'm quoting Mother Jones, but Mother Jones has been documenting these And you can live in a fantasy world if you want, but look at just what out of the most recent one of the shootings that happen and who's carrying them out. Austin Thompson, 15. Jonathan Saitman, 20. Some of them are Islamic terrorist attacks, okay? And I know everybody wants to see manifestos. I mean, this was brought up before because you want to see, left is going to blame it on right-wing extreme. Right-wing or people on the right are going to blame it on left-wing extremes. That needs to be addressed. That's all. Like if they were carrying out an attack like the attack on the baseball field, you might not know this, but Ron DeSantis left the baseball field before a mass shooter came up. I forgot about this. Ron DeSantis actually, if you read in his book, he left the baseball field just moments before a shooter came up and started shooting at Republican congressmen. He said, are Republicans down there? And who's practicing? Republicans or Democrats? He said, Republicans. He said, okay, walked down and shot Steve Scalise. Congressman Scalise survived shooting. I don't think anybody was killed, but this guy started shooting congressmen. And he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And I think that's important to know. I think no matter what, it's important to know. If they were on the right, you should know it. If they were on the left, you should know it. But so DeSantis has a unique perspective on this. But I mean, look at all these. You can't deny this. I mean, this is the Jacksonville Dollar General shooter that was a racial attack. Okay, that was based on racism. Okay. The LGBT club shooting, and that guy seemed to be on the left. But let's just look. It goes over mental health data, okay? This chart, and so let's see. I'm trying to expand this here. Okay, reportedly had a history of mental health problems that led to the end of his military service with this one. You see the most, why is it doing this? Oh, come on. Okay. The most data you can get here is they had a mental health problem. Previous threats, history of mental health. But what you can't see is what were they prescribed and what were the side effects, and did they abruptly stop anything anytime at this point? Because abruptly stopping these medications can mess with your head. And you don't have anybody, you don't have your mommy there telling you, okay, take your pills now when you're 40 years old. Hopefully you don't. And you could be taking pills and then you go, fuck these, I'm sorry, screw these pills. I don't need them anymore. I feel fine. And then you don't know what the effects of abruptly stopping an antidepressant are. When the doctor is getting you off an antidepressant, which rarely happens because they make money to prescribe them and the pharmaceutical companies make money, so they want that gravy train going. They have you taper off of it. Completely stopping these things is very dangerous. And my question is just, why is that never addressed? Now, everybody always jumps to conclusions on these things. They go, oh, well, you want to take away my Second Amendment. Oh, well, and the yelling from both sides. Rah, 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 rah. That doesn't help, okay? That prevents from, hey, look, putting forth some things like let's figure out what's going on here. I'm not saying take the guns of anybody that has that's on some medication or has a diagnosis or something like that. But don't we have government agencies that are supposed to be looking out for our people that sell dangerous products? I mean, didn't they do that to cigarette companies and tobacco companies and they found out they caused cancer? Where are these regulatory agencies, the FDA? Where the hell are they? Oh, yeah, they're like ex-pharmaceutical company CEOs end up as chair of the FDA. Right. They're all part of the same body now. We found this out during the fake pandemic. These regulatory agencies read Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s book. This is where he's great, by the way. Maybe Bobby Kennedy will point this out. Maybe it's not DeSantis that'll point this out. Maybe Bobby Kennedy will. He talks about this in his book, that these regulatory agencies have now been hijacked by the people they're supposed to regulate. So if you've got dangerous products that are being given to people that already have mental problems, and they start taking these pills, and they have as a listed side effect homicidal thoughts and suicidal thoughts, and they go out and after taking these products, and they carry out a horrific act of terrorism, which is what it is, we need to know what they were taking and what the side effects are. We need to know that. When you do something like this, you forfeit your privacy rights. And if there's misleading things going on, and actually next month or in December, the grand jury on the COVID vaccine is coming back. In Florida, there's a grand jury out on did the pharmaceutical companies mislead people with the COVID vaccines? And there's going to be a damning report that's going to come out on this, thanks to Ron DeSantis in December. Get ready for that. DeSantis should be talking about this too. Is there things being covered up? Do some of these drugs and these SSRIs need to be pulled from the market? Are they doing more damage than good? Are they causing this? Are they playing a role in this? Is this not something we need to look into? If you want to take it to the corporations, you want to take it to the gun manufacturers, the NRA, whatever, why is it that nobody ever wants to take it to the pharmaceutical companies, which are some of the biggest liars we've seen? So, just sad. And it really just makes this kind of stuff makes me mad. And when you're getting in all these Second Amendment conversations with people and stuff, just remember that there were lives lost here, and that there are people out there that are genuinely fearful for good reason, and they do want some answers. They want somebody to come and give them some answers, and better than just, well, you're not going to take my guns ever. There needs to be solutions or ideas put forth on this stuff. Gigi Bauman here was, just so sad. My 15-year-old daughter hung herself from a tree while coming off Zoloft. I ran for office on this issue. I've lived the last 20 years trying to awaken people to this issue. We did not have these constant mass shootings before SSRI medication became commonplace. There are tons of information on this issue. Google Ann Blake Tracy CCR HR Generation RX. For instance, the Parkland shooter was on 2 SSRI medications, affects her, and another one I don't remember. I think he was on Adderall too. But look, suicide risk and antidepressants. This is in the fine print. This is what the drug companies say. Most antidepressants are generally safe, but the FDA requires that all antidepressants carry black box warnings, the strictest warnings for prescriptions. In some cases, children and teenagers and young adults under 25 may have an increase in suicidal thoughts or behavior while taking antidepressants. And people go, they were on antidepressants, but that's why they were suicidal. So wait a minute, hold on. So weren't they on the antidepressants not to be suicidal, but they're more suicidal now? And then they take out that part, that what role did this play? Because with these drugs, they're messing with brain chemistry, okay? They're playing mad scientists with people's brain chemistry and prescribing stuff to people after they spent all of 5 minutes with them. Give them a diagnosis, give them a drug, move them out. That's what psychiatrists do. Psychiatrists aren't Fraser Crane today. They're not going, well, gee, can I just ask you, did you break up with your boyfriend recently? Oh, that sounds very sad. Were you tired of her not cooking dinner for you? Was that really, yes. This is not, what was your relationship with your mother? You're not going into a psychiatrist today to see Freud and have him psychoanalyze you and your dreams and your relationships and stuff like that. No, when you see a psychiatrist, you go in, they are completely not even engaged in what's going on. They talk to you for 5 seconds, and then they write you a prescription and send you on your way, and then send you a bill. And next. That's what psychiatry is today. All right. And a lot of these drugs they give, I mean, geez, and this is only tapping the surface. You know, you've got lithium, you've got drugs for bipolar disorder. I mean, everybody's got bipolar disorder now. Everybody's got ADD now. Then you got the amphetamines, and we can get into that. Amphetamines that Hamas or Hezbollah were taking when they were gunning people down. That's been documented. They found amphetamine pills in their pockets. And nobody talks about this. And given what we now know about, right, look, anyone taking an antidepressant should be watched closely for worsening depression or unusual behavior. If you or someone you know has suicidal thoughts when taking an antidepressant, immediately contact your doctor or get emergency help. Mayo Clinic. Unfortunately, sometimes it's too late for that. On that note, okay. Yeah, you know, and what are people supposed to think? They think a doctor's giving me this. Oh, well, a doctor's giving it to me. It's not like one of those dirty street drugs. You know, I've got a doctor that's giving it to me. And there's really a problem now with doctor worship in our society, especially among the older generation, man. Everything a doctor says is just true. If you've got that doctor degree on your wall, then you've got the white lab coat on, then you got the clipboard, stethoscope, everything you say is true. Well, you're figuring out that the medical establishment is not always right about things and doesn't always have your best interests in mind. So where are the regulatory agencies? So I think if I was DeSantis, I would recommend that DeSantis make a point about this. And at least just pose the question that can we look into what these guys were taking, what pharmaceuticals they were on, because something's going on that's causing these mass shootings. It's probably multiple things. Andy Pollock, father of Meadow Pollock, who was murdered at Parkland, had a good take on this, as he usually does, and says that we need to, there's a lot of different things. Wages are depressed. Family and marriage have become an ancient relic. Housing and renting is totally unaffordable. Medications are overprescribed. People describing themselves as religious is at an all-time low. That's another thing. We live in a very secular society now where you're taught life is devalued. Oh, another thing about the antidepressants is they cause impotence. That's another thing. Interesting. Seeing as a lot of these guys, they don't want to see the population going up anymore. So it's very interesting. These side effects of some of these drugs seem to work out for the people that do not have good intentions for us. The Bill Gates of the world, and the people that have the different designs for how the planet should look and how people should live their lives. Is it any surprise people snap and lose their minds? America has become the perfect breeding ground for mental illness and neurosis. Right? Yeah, banning firearms and punishing lawful, responsible gun owners and the worst response to society. But look, Andy, that's what they want. I mean, that's what people are going to be calling for. People do not want to go to a bowling alley and have to fear for their life. And unless, I'm glad there's some things here, but some of these political people need to speak up and offer an alternate theory that maybe it's not the guns that are the problem. Perhaps there is something more at play, and perhaps we can identify a link between some of these drugs. And I mean, what if they did a study and came back and said 90% of the shooters from Columbine to today were on some kind of antidepressant? And that study came out. Why don't we see that study? If that study came out and you saw that headline, would that make you think? Would that change the dialogue? But, as we see with pharmaceutical companies, there would be resistance to that. Let's just put it that way. And they've got a lot of sway. Say too much sway. So DeSantis is just doing phenomenal barnstorming Iowa. He's doing the full Grassley, okay, which is going to all 99 counties. Senator Chuck Grassley, who is a beloved senator from Iowa, is he goes around to every single county every year, okay, and the guy's like 90 years old, and he goes to, and that's what the full Grassley is. That's what DeSantis is doing. He's also rocking it in New Hampshire, seeing him there with Sununu. And it's just great. The guy gets along with people. He makes people happy. He wants another debate in Iowa. These debates where it's like, oh, Trump doesn't show up, and I'm going to have another thing. Shut up. He even said, hey, look, clown, I'll let you have your teleprompter, okay? Because Trump can't do anything without his teleprompter. Look at that. That's the family right there. That's who I want in the White House. He's so good looking, man. And, his face projects, he's got a glow in him, and so does his wife and his kids. And then there's Sununu back there who, people like Sununu, he was a little off on the COVID stuff. All right. But, he looks to somebody like DeSantis, and you can tell he admires him. And Sununu also is a winner, unlike Trump, who is a loser, who only knows how to lose. All right. So, people just call me, oh, he's a rhino. Oh, shut up. I don't want to hear anybody say rhino anymore. Just shut up. So freaking annoying, these people. Okay, so here we go. DeSantis says that Trump can bring his teleprompter if he wants.
I think he owes it to the voters to show up. Remember, October of 2020, that first debate with Biden. Biden beat him in that debate. And that was really incredible that he allowed that to happen. But people remember that. I think that had a real significant impact in the election. And we saw in Florida, Trump's numbers started to decline after that. So he's got to show that he can do this. I think it's a different guy in 23 than he was in 2016. I think he was energetic, freewheeling back then. I think it was really about America first. Now I think, he's on the teleprompter. Most of the stuff he's talking about is about himself and his issues. And that's not the inspiring message that's going to be able to win the day with the American people. But look, I think he should debate. And I'm willing to allow him to bring his teleprompter to the debate if that's what he wants to do. And we will just do it like that. But he should be on that stage in Miami in subsequent debates. I will be there.
See, that's right. Right. Now he's being funny. Now he's stepping up a little bit. All right. That's funny. And yeah, Trump he lost that debate between him and Biden. I remember. I actually watched it with Laura Loomer, ironically. And I remember that debate, and I remember just thinking, Trump sounded horrible. He sounded horrible. He was talking over Biden. He was trying to be funny, and his jokes were falling flat. And he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Remember that? Oh, boy, that got them riled up. We all know what that led to. And not that Trump cares, but I remember just watching that debate and going, geez. But then, of course, after it was over, yeah, he won. Oh, he was great. That moderator, oh, boy, if it wasn't for, remember, then Chris Wallace got demonized. It was Chris Wallace's fault. It was Chris Wallace. Honestly, I'm tired of this complaining about moderators, okay? Let me tell you, people are saying, Lester Holt shouldn't be the moderator, and these are libs. Let me tell you, I would rather have Lester Holt moderating than these Fox News bozos who are all in the tank for Trump, asking, will you draw a picture of your favorite opponent, and who would you like, which opponent would you not like on the island anymore? These stupid childish questions that are designed to make the debate look clownish, to make Trump look smart for not being there. That's what those questions were about. So after the fact, they go, oh boy, that debate was such a clown show, because the moderators made it that way. Okay. But seriously though, DeSantis, do you notice he doesn't bitch and moan about the moderators or people being unfair to him? He just handles it, and he does, he didn't piss and moan about Bill Maher. He doesn't piss and moan about these people. Okay, but Biden did lose that, or Trump did lose that debate. He did horribly. And DeSantis points out that's when Trump started losing support. Trump started slipping. That's why Biden won. Biden beat Trump. Yes, he did. All right. The election was not stolen. All right. Let's get this through our heads, guys. Now, DeSantis has sent some, and look at, he's got a full schedule here in Florida. Ooh, was I right about this or what? I told you guys. Watch, some type of earth-changing event will happen between now and January that will reveal the true strength and character of Ron DeSantis. I wrote that back in July. I knew there would be some kind of event that would change the world. And look, what's happened in Israel. And look, support for Israel becomes the key voters to the key issue to voters in the Iowa caucus. Look, guys, bottom line here when it comes to Israel, all right? Read the Bible, and I don't mean just listen to a pastor or listen to a podcast host or listen to a scholar or read a compendium or whatever. I mean actually read the Bible cover to cover, okay? You'll understand that Israel is special, and that's the promised land, and that it's very important that the Jews are back on that land, because this signifies that Christ is returning. Jesus cannot return until the Jews are back on their Holy Land. So them being there and the connection between Christians and Jews is very strong, all right? So that's why Israel is special, okay? And DeSantis, when he's talking about Israel, he's clearly not concerned with it. I've noticed DeSantis puts God before he puts polls, constituents, things like that, which I like. I would rather have a candidate that puts God before constituents, okay? God first. DeSantis plays for an audience of one, and that's God. And that's one thing you need to understand with him. And the support for Israel is because there is a component to it. Of course, there's a strategic component that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. laid out. China will have their ability to do whatever they want with the oil, manipulate oil prices. If Israel is wiped out, they will be able to come in and do that. It's going to cause major disruptions and problems. And also, just how horrible it would be to not have Israel. I mean, Israel, and to have, you know, the Palestinian Muslims taking control of that area. Really? Is that what you want? You think they're going to let Christians into the Holy Land anymore? Hell no. Right now, the Jews control that area, and Christians, Muslims, and Jews live side by side there. If Hamas takes over that area and the Palestinians take over that, it's not going to be that way. All right? Christians and Jews are not going to be welcome. All right? But look what DeSantis has done. 4 flights completed, DeSantis Airlines, 700 Americans flown from Israel to Florida. Look at this. 2 cargo planes with 85 pallets of donated supplies arrive in Israel. Over 100 Florida troopers and FDLE agents deployed to protect Florida synagogues, Jewish day schools, communities with large Jewish populations. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Randy Fine thing, okay? Randy Fine is a state senator or a state representative who DeSantis helped him champion all of his stuff, get his bill signed, get his anti-Semitism law signed, get all that stuff signed. And how does Randy repay him? By doing him publicly and trying to blame him for saying Randy says he was jumped by Nazis. Randy starts fights with a lot of people. I would like to see the police report on that, because it's more likely it was a political operative. So anyway, just look, people can do what they want to do, but just what I'm just telling you, Representative Fine is mad because he did not get this position with this college that he wanted, and he has a personal axe to grind with DeSantis, and he's grinding it right now, okay? That's why he went and did that big endorsement of Trump yesterday or on Tuesday. But that was just disgrace. He did it in a very disgraceful way. If he wants to endorse Trump's, which is fine, whatever. But the way he did it and the way he dragged DeSantis like that, that was a really shitty thing to do. The way he did that. And it was for a personal grudge. It's just very important to know that. I see Randy. I'm going to say hi. I'm not, believe me, Randy Fine is not the person you really want to get into a feud with. All right. I'll tell you. But it was a really shitty thing that he did with that. And that's that. Okay. Move on. All right. So, all these things that DeSantis has done for Israel right here. But today, there was a big, and there's Newsom over there. Newsom's positioning himself. He's positioning himself to be president right there. She loves him. Hey, you did a great job with the COVID lockdowns, man. You too. Yeah, we tried to do everything China did, but that damn Constitution kept getting in our way. Oh, yeah, we know. We're going to try to do away with that. Newsom is looking very presidential here, too. And Newsom, I know you hate to think it, but he's got a likable personality, okay? He's disastrous for the country, but he's disastrous for California, but he's a likable guy, all right? He's younger. He's okay looking. He's got a full head of hair. He's a likable guy, all right? And this is who we got on deck if Biden's not available to run for president, all right? Trump will not be able to handle Newsom. Newsom will beat Trump easily. All right, so Nunu, I just think this is great. Where was that one? I want to play this one clip that was just good. That was just so good. It was the Republic. Okay, he's talking about young voters. Okay, blah blah blah. There was one clip here where he was just really good. Was it this one here? Family values. Here, there he is with his kids. They're great. But the Donald Trump accident counter, that's awesome. Good job. Okay, this clip right here. Just love it.
And what Donald Trump does now, he is wedded to the teleprompter. He can't get off that teleprompter. Anytime he does, he says things like, don't vote. He's telling people not to vote, like we've all the votes we need. Really? Like, wait a minute. You lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton in 2016. You don't have all the votes you need. And so I think that it's just shown this is a different Donald Trump than 2015 and 16. Lost the zip on his fastball, has a sense of entitlement, all this stuff, doesn't think he has to go through and earn it like other candidates. And that's just not going to fly in Iowa and New Hampshire. And that's why, how this came to be with Iowa and New Hampshire and all the way that I don't know, but I'll tell you, just having been here, I'm glad that it works this way because I do think you got to earn it. I think the voters expect that. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I think Chris has said, and I've said, we need a candidate that can win the general election. There's too many people that just are not going to vote for Trump at this point, is my view, and I think Chris as well. But you have another wrinkle now with RFK Jr. as a third party. RFK Jr. will be a vessel for anti-lockdown and anti-Fauci voters.
Glad he's saying this.
If I'm the nominee, they all go to me because I stood up against Fauci. I'm going to clean out CDC and all those. It's a big part of my platform. With Trump, though, he created Fauci. He elevated Fauci.
True.
He never fired him. He said that he did everything right during COVID. Claims he saved 100 million lives, with the mRNA vaccine and all this stuff. And I think those voters who are understandably still very frustrated with how this federal government handled COVID and the lies that were told and all the mistakes that were made with no accountability, they're going to want a vessel for that. And I think they may default to Kenny. So I think he will hurt Trump way more than he would hurt any other candidate.
Bingo.
And that makes it even a tougher uphill battle.
He's absolutely right. If Trump's the nominee, myself and many other people are absolutely going with RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. has moral compass. Trump does not. RFK Jr. believes, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. believes in the Constitution. Trump doesn't even know what the Constitution says. Yes, I'm glad he said that. I mean, he's hitting all the notes that I would say, geez, he should just have me as an advisor. But he's hitting all the notes. He's exactly right. Trump is the nominee. People are going to flock to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, it would be great for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. if Trump's the nominee. If DeSantis is the nominee, Kennedy's going to have a harder time because there's a lot of Kennedy and DeSantis have been right on a lot of things. And a lot of stuff, by the way, Kennedy and DeSantis have a lot of the same message on a lot of stuff. Okay, with talking about BlackRock. I don't ever hear Trump talking about BlackRock buying everything up. And, okay, so everybody was freaking out about this. They were all like, oh my God, DeSantis sending weapons to Israel. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Thursday, and I'm quoting him exactly from his press room, said Thursday he's arranged to send drones, weapons, and ammunition to Israel as it prepares for an incursion into Gaza as a response to the Hamas attack. Florida sent cargo planes with healthcare supplies, drones, body armor, and helmets to Jeremy Redfern. The state also worked with private groups to supply weapons and ammunition at the request of Israel's general consul in Miami. Israel general consul in Miami is more on the left. Okay, I've met this guy. Let me tell you, he's a tough cookie. You know, he's I can't think of his name, but it's a very Israeli name. But you know, he means business. You know, I saw him. He spoke at the temple over here when at that event last week. But you know, he means business, and DeSantis is going to help him however he can. So if he's going to request DeSantis help him get this this ammunition and the supplies to Israel, DeSantis is going to do it, or do everything he can to do it. But people are going, oh my goodness, DeSantis is using taxpayer dollars to arm Israel. He's not allowed to do that. Look, okay, he didn't. Okay, now it was clarified later, and I know there were some people on DeSantis' side that were asking for clarification. One of the greatest things about DeSantis and his people is he doesn't get pissed off when you ask him questions, and he will answer it. But I made a comment that there were hall monitors going after DeSantis. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm not talking about people that like DeSantis. I'm talking about the regular people that are always watching him, and you know who they are, that are always like, oh my goodness, look what he did. Oh, that's illegal, man. Oh, you can't do that. All right. Here's another thing I really like about DeSantis is you can support him and you can know that he's not going to be doing any illegal stuff, okay? He does things when he does these flights to Martha's Vineyard. He gets all his ducks in a row because he better damn well make sure what he's doing is constitutional and he has the authority to do it. If he's doing something like that, he's going to. I'm not saying don't question him. You question him all you want. I'll question him. DeSantis, hey, was this constitutional? Could you do this? But I've questioned him enough and banged on him enough since 2020 when I first really got to know who Governor DeSantis was. I've banged on him enough to know that when he's doing stuff, he's got his ducks in a row. You don't have to worry that he's going to go do something stupid like Trump would do without consulting actual lawyers, not Tom Fitton or any of these other bozos or podcast hosts. You know that DeSantis's legal counsel, Ryan Newman, I think he still is, but he goes to actual lawyers who know the Constitution and know his authority as governor and advise him of what he's able to do. And they've got a pretty damn good record of doing things that are legal, because the Democrats, they file lawsuits. How many lawsuits have been filed against DeSantis? Like they file lawsuits all the time. And every time he comes out that he was right, he had the authority to do it. Okay. So, you know, when he does something like this and people are all going crazy, he's not doing something he doesn't have authority to do, whether you agree with it or not. Okay. I think that if the consul of Israel is asking for these things and we can do it, that we help them, okay? Because they're about to go into Gaza and it's going to get kind of ugly, guys. It's going to get even uglier. It looks like, typically they allow themselves to get beat up on by Hamas and the Palestinian Muslims. Let's be clear about who this is. These aren't Proud Boys doing this, all right? And then the world goes, oh, we can't. You got Israel they have to have restraint. And usually Israel just takes it in the chin and backs off and just allows, and then until the next terrorist attack. But this attack was pretty big. And they are trying to provoke the Israelis to go into Gaza. They are. Because they know that the world is very anti-Israel right now. And the world's just getting more anti-Israel, if you haven't noticed. So if the Israelis want to deal with Hamas, Now's the time. Wait till the next attack and see where global opinion is at that point, okay? Now's the time. If you want to handle these guys, you got to handle them. I hear they're going to go on a ground assault. Are they going to do it? I don't know. Would I be a damn bit surprised if at the last minute they go, no, we're calling it off. But I did read that there already are people, Israelis on the ground in Gaza. I did read that on Drudge, which Drudge is still good for some things. But people were freaking out about this. Oh my God! Look, guys, don't freak out. He was asked to do this by the Israeli Consulate General. That changes things. Yes, it does. Okay, so guys. But yeah, okay, so thanks for asking. See, look, you get answers. This is why I like Christina Pushaw, because I found her on Twitter in 2021 when she came on with DeSantis, and here was just a person that you could go to and really access the governor through Twitter and and who would reply back to you when you had concerns. And I was like, wow, like these guys seem to like really care, because then DeSantis would like act on what you were telling him you think he should do. That's what I like about the guy. But thanks for asking. It's not state funded. It was funded by private citizens' donations. The state helped arrange to get them over in coordination with the consulate. There you go. And I wasn't targeting any of you guys about people that were the DeSantis hall monitors. All right. I'm talking about the Trump people. Okay. But with DeSantis, you don't have to worry that he's doing anything that he shouldn't be doing. Okay. He stays very, very above board with this stuff, and this, I think, was a good decision. Give Israel what they need. Okay, so the last thing, Meadows. It looks like Mark Meadows wore a wire around Trump, and we talked about this in Spaces way back, that somebody was wearing a wire around Trump. And turns out to be Mark Meadows. And it was actually Joe Budd that put that in my ear, that we talked about it on the Space openly, that, hey, look, this, because it was just Jack Smith and his people just knew too much for there not to be somebody with a wire. And you'll see back here on August 24th, I thought it was Jason Miller or Raheem. Someone is leaking these conversations to prosecutors. I knew somebody was wearing a wire. Now it turns out to be Mark Meadows. But you know what? If I was in Meadows' spot, and I think Meadows probably feels screwed over by Trump. I think him, like a lot of people, believed the election was stolen until they realized that it wasn't. And that whole thing was a lie. And I think, if Trump screwed me over and then prosecutors came to me and said, okay, you can go to jail or you can wear a wire around Trump, I'd go, wire me up, baby. I'll get him saying, what do you want to hear? I'll get him talking like crazy. We'll talk about all the people he showed classified stuff to, and women he paid hush money to for affairs, and whatever else. I mean, Trump would wear a wire to get you if it saved him. He would. But so they're all the Trump people are all in the Space. They're all breaking. Mark Meadows allegedly wore a wire for FBI while Trump. Oh, they're saying he might have done it while Trump was president. Now that brings in another thing. I mean, is the FBI illegally allowed to send people in wearing a wire to a current president after he's out of office? You can argue, but I'm just saying, look, it's been known that somebody was wearing a wire around Trump for a while, and it turns out to be Mark Meadows. And I wouldn't be surprised if more people are wearing wires around Trump. I mean, that's what they do. He's under an FBI investigation. The FBI uses wiretap. If you'd like to know more about wiretaps, the show's a little old, but you can watch the show The Wire on HBO. It's a very good show. It's about a police department using wiretaps. But anytime they need to get any cool gadgets to tap people and stuff like that, they always go to the FBI, because they've always got the cool stuff. I assume that hasn't changed since 2003. All right, guys. Prayers with the victims of this horrible shooting in Maine. God, just bowling alley, just awful. And you get into the gun debate, just don't forget about the lives and just that this scares people. This really does. This strikes terror. That's why it's terrorism. I gotta be worried when I go to a bowling alley or when I'm out having fun with my family. That's when you do to unwind and have fun and get away from stuff. Bowling. You go to the bowling alley. You take your mind off of stuff. And this happens. It's absolutely horrific. This is Chris Nelson. Thanks for watching.